imagine working in a call center in Oklahoma.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Is that where you're from originally?
No. No, I'm from a little town in the hill country, like 2.5 hours. Really tiny. Like, your small car could not make it up my driveway. Milk the dairy goats in the morning. Make your own cheese.
Whoa.
Type of chickens.
When did you get out?
Mentally, when I was about 10. But no, I left at 17, about. I went to Texas State for a bit. Majored in psychedelics.
Oh, wow.
Struggling with depression.
Oh, wow.
That was my minor. But no, left that, and then went to Oklahoma for a bit. For a man.
Damn, that's weird.
Right? Those Oklahomans. He's ironically from Oklahoma, but I did not meet him there. And then, after that, I came to Austin. Oh. I had always wanted to. My best friend's a singer-songwriter, and she moved here first. And just like, all these weirdos.
Yeah. What year did you move?
2011.
Oh, okay. So that's around the same time I did. Like, end of 2010, early 2011.
Nice.
Yeah. And that I was with my ex-husband at that time, so same thing, man.
Yep. At least he brought you to Austin.
Yeah, and then and then I found myself, and then realized I don't need to settle for this. Like, at least we don't have kids.
I feel like this is a good city for it too.
Yes.
So many walks of life and perspectives, and creative outlets.
Absolutely.
And it's just like
a
real eye opener.
Definitely.
Living your own life. You know what I mean?
And getting weird. Speaking of which, I'm just kidding.
Right?
I guess we should just introduce ourselves. It's a good segue.
Yeah.
So, if you're just watching, this is episode number 1 of Fatal Overdose. I was kind of worried about choosing that name for a second because I'm like, I don't want to trigger anyone, but it sounds so good.
Everything is someone's trigger.
That's true.
Sadly.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like your brand.
Right, exactly.
That's how I know you photography, so.
Yeah, I use Fatal for everything. And
I think of it like fatal. Metal.
Nice.
Fatal. You know?
And some people say fatal and it sounds just as cool.
That sounds super fancy.
I know, right?
I like it. Either way.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is episode number 1. We are located in Austin, Texas. For those of you who do not know me, I am Fatal. On Instagram, I'm known as Fatal Appeal, and that's really the only social media I use. But I am a freelance photographer and have been on and off for about 10 years, and I model here and there. And
yeah, you do.
Yeah. And so after meeting really cool people, I thought it would be cool to talk with them and do this whole film production. I've never done anything like this. Neither has he. And he's super smart and techie. And I swear one day I was just like, I want to do it. I want to do it. And then in 24 hours we built this set and ordered everything we needed. Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of work has been put into it, but a lot of trial and error. You don't know.
I was about to say, I bet there's going to be a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. This is just the beginning.
That's right.
So, yeah. And for those of you who do not know Mistress Primrose.
Hi. Yes, that's me.
Or how about you give us, how would you introduce yourself?
Mistress Primrose. I'm a dominatrix / goddess in the Austin area. Have been lifestyle for about 5, 6-ish years and pro for about 4.
Nice.
Here in Austin. Today, Austin. Tomorrow, the world.
Yeah,
so that's
nice.
The plan.
Do you travel often for work?
Just starting to. You know, the struggle to get my shit together is constant. So
yeah,
trying to branch out, and I just kind of started with Houston, San Antonio. Went to New Orleans for DomCon.
I saw. Oh my God! Please tell me about it because
I'm
like.
If you haven't been to DomCon, you should go. Plug here because it was so much fun. It's not just for pros either. Granted, there's obviously a pretty large femdom presence at it, but it's anyone wanting to learn about kink, BDSM. A lot of good, like, educational resources as well as, like, networking. And
is that like a weekend?
Yeah. Yeah. They've got 2. I think their main one their bigger one is in LA. Most suburb. And then they've got one in New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one I went to.
Nice. I can't even imagine what kind of vendors are there. There must be so much cool shit.
So much. It's like, take all my money. Obviously, like leather, latex, and just all kinds of wonders and thrills.
Right? Was there, like, performances and stuff?
There was. There's so much going on. Oh, I'm beating this to heck, sorry. There's so much going on. It's hard to catch it all. Like, it's... I put more priority on the classes, trying to learn me some while I was there, so I missed a lot of it. There was, like, a pet pageant.
What?
That I was so bummed I missed. So,
oh my gosh.
Pet play, I guess I should, even if
yes,
you know, I should explain. Pet play is where the dominant plays like a guardian or owner role to the submissive who enjoys being someone's pet. Typically acting like an animal, common as dog, cat, horse even. You can ride them with saddles. It's like a whole thing.
That's cool.
All different kind of foxes I've seen. I saw a couple foxes there. So it's just really, really fun.
And what is your specialty of play?
For pet play or just in general?
In general.
In general, well, so you have, and every pro-dom, lifestyle dom's perspective is going to be different, but when you are pro, it's like the things that you enjoy doing the most, and also because it is a business, what you get requested for the most. So there's this interesting, and also your look and how you present yourself online really affects the kind of clientele that comes your way.
Sure.
So what I get the most is like goddess worship. So you've got like your more traditional mistress, dominatrix role, a little more harsh, severe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a more goddess role, which is more like I'm your religion, worship me, like sometimes a little more spiritual, kind of sacred sexuality in nature. Of course, I like to do both. Most people do both, but I tend to get a lot of that goddess, probably because of the curves. I think it's like,
which are wonderful, by the way.
Thank you. But I think they like tie it to like fertility, like deep down in their little male brains, and they kind of relate that to like divine feminine a little bit. That's my working theory, why I get that a lot. And I don't have that, like, I'd say the typical dom look is like the dark hair.
Yeah.
Some oftentimes very like thin, tall, kind of more like a severe kind of hot. And I have like a more soft kind of.
Very,
But that's great because then I reel them in, and then when they're in my lair, they see what they really signed up for.
Nice.
But yeah, so I get a lot of goddess worship. I actually started out as a foot model.
Ooh.
That's kind of, it's a long story how I got into it, but foot fetish work. Yes, point that toe, exactly.
Yes. With my bunions.
No, great.
I do have bunions.
You do good work. Thank you. But I really enjoy foot fetish work, so I get a lot of that. Also, surprisingly, golden showers, toilet training is really popular. And I get a lot of requests for it. I get way more requests for it than I actually do for lots of reasons. But
wow. So you are the one on them, obviously.
Yes. They want to be turned into, I'm going all in.
Yeah. This is like so interesting to me. That's why I needed you as my first guest. You're welcome, everyone.
Yes. So a lot of people, it's about degradation, consensual degradation. They enjoy like putting their domina on a pedestal. So think about how you could revere something at its highest, especially that goddess.
Yeah.
And so like and really a lot of this patterns to be found in most major religions, but it's like to even have like to touch the hair or to lick the bottom of the foot, like is considered like, even though it's degrading, it's almost like reinforcing their role beneath you. So an extreme of that is mistress, turn me into your toilet. So a lot of they like to be urinated on.
Like, okay, so can you describe
our president and 1 out of every 5 American men? Okay.
And R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Do you like? How do you squat? I'm just curious.
It's actually interesting. This is coming up because I guess I'm doing it different than most of the other pros that I know. Apparently, a lot of them like they have these cool toilet chairs, so it's like almost like a more luxury version of the camping toilet things.
Okay.
And then they have like pads or things. But I'm like, I'm not gonna claim this, so you're gonna get in my luxury tub here.
Smart.
And I'm just gonna do that.
Nice.
And then just do the cleanup and you're done. So that's
cool.
So my dream dungeon, which I could talk the whole hour about. My dream dungeon would have like a kind of open air.
I mean, we can definitely touch on that. Right? Or you can come back too, because I would love to have you on again, obviously.
Absolutely.
But okay, so like with the P play.
Yes.
How do you lead up to that? I mean, is it usually like, I don't know. It's like, it's just so...
Like jarring, like
I guess like
to my dungeon. Well, it depends on your own personal style, and a lot of what you do is what makes I think Dom special ones who've been doing it a long time so amazing. What I strive for is like the ability to quickly read people's like innermost
absolutely
needs and desires, and a lot of times it's like a huge struggle for them to even like verbalize that, especially for men, because poor men are like taught from like infancy not to talk about emotions or anything like that. So for them to like really put it out there, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So it depends on the client, to answer your question more directly. Like some of them, you really want to like kind of knock them off balance. It's like very jarring and like, but for the most part, I tend to have a more sensual approach to it. So I like, I prefer having a little more time sessions, like longer sessions, so that I can have a steady build and like really safety's a whole key thing, obviously, but safely take them from the headspace and the physical space that they're in when they walk in, which usually with males, it's a position of power, and kind of like break that down and take them all the way through the cycle of coming from that to laying at the bottom of my tub with their mouth up, begging for my piss. It's a multi-step journey. Yeah. Up or down, depending on how you look at it. So I like to kind of, usually it's pretty rare that someone wants nothing else. And actually, I probably wouldn't do that. So it's also a balance of like the things they specifically request. And it's like, in the end, it's about what I want, what I desire, which that's kind of the empowering part of it, finding a balance between those two things. So it's like, I don't know if you came here for a flogging. We're going to do a light flogging.
Do they usually, email you with their requests first?
Yeah, and then there's I have a website, and social media accounts, with the FOSTA SESTA shit. It's like, it's a lot more difficult now to market and to have safe forums for communication. So now I kind of make everyone go through my website now, but I do have number and email. I have a small form I have them fill out. Some people have a really detailed one that's like every fetish you can imagine, but I also tend to attract a lot of new players, meaning people who are new to the scene, new to the lifestyle. And sometimes it's like almost they get too overwhelmed with too many things. So I kind of take the things they know they're interested in and kind of guide them through options that are related to that. Like, are you a masochist? That's a big thing. A common misconception is, if you're going to see a dominatrix, then you just want the shit kicked out of you, or you just want to be whipped. And while I am a sadist, I do really enjoy those things. I actually don't get enough pain sluts and masochistic, because a lot of them don't want that. A lot of them, because really those things typically are more of a reinforcement of the power play that's going on mentally. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so cool, though. I mean, I can definitely tell that, like, you really take good care of them. And
I always try, you know, I mean, and you do learn as you go, much like with what you're doing here. There's a lot of trial and error, and you just have to, you know, safe, sane, consensual. That's why I don't involve people who didn't sign up for it, like if you're doing public play or something like that. So if you keep that in mind, you minimize a lot of the risks, but put a lot of effort into thinking, really realizing the responsibility you have, you know, when people are putting themselves in these compromising with privacy, with their mental health, their emotional well-being.
Yeah. You know. Have you ever felt unsafe? Like,
yes.
I'm sure you have. And I think that's important to, like, also.
Yeah, acknowledge you gotta have a pair on you to be a sex worker of any kind. And a dominatrix, I do believe, is a sex worker. Even if you as a dominatrix don't offer, like, you know, normal traditional intercourse, you're still in that realm. So, yeah, it can be risky. I feel like as a dom, for me, I've attracted less of the bullshit that, like, maybe a traditional escort or something of that nature would, because I am attracting submissive men,
yes,
you know, who want
that's
to
true.
be told what to do. And, you know, I have a no bullshit, no nonsense approach to me. So, but that being said, you know, late night sessions with, you know, probably people who show up intoxicated.
Yeah.
You know, I've had to turn them away, but just, you know, assholes being assholes. You know, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of great people out there, but every once in a while you get a bad seed. But it's important. Anyone considering going into this line of work, definitely, if you don't have someone who can be in whatever space that you're sessioning in, like in a back room, typically that's what I'll do. I'll have somebody. And if not, have someone, like a safety check. A lot of sex workers in the area will have that, like, kind of system where if you want to just tell me when you're going in, tell me when you're supposed to come out.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to be smart about it. You know, have some kind of defense tool, taser, whatever, which kind of serves multi-purpose for what I do. But, you know, you just got to be smart about it. Definitely. Yeah. But not as much as you would think. It's very, very uncommon through the years I've been doing it.
That's definitely
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, going back to, like, pain and stuff.
Yeah.
What tool? Yeah. Tell me, like, what are your weapons of choice?
So, I definitely enjoy impact play.
Okay.
Which is anything that causes an impact, right? So flogging, whips, there's a lot of, like, chemical response to that your brain has when you have impact hit you. The different kinds can affect the different waves of endorphins and all of that. So it's just a really good, just kind of like, I've been doing yoga a lot lately. It's the same thing, like the physical activity helps empty your mind too. So I found that, like, a good, at the very least, warm up of impact play kind of like has this, quiets the mind and just fast tracks that headspace that both of us really are looking for, top space and subspace. So that's always fun. I really want to get more into electrical play. Yeah, it's really, and actually it's great for pain, but it's also, I only have recently learned the pleasure potential it has. Like, there's E-stem attachments where, like, women can have men hands-free orgasms just with the right combination of electrical stimulus. I'm still learning about that. I'm not an expert on that. I've dabbled more in just the pain aspect of electrical play, but that's super fun.
Is it like, I'm just trying to, is it like, how many volts?
I don't know. There's probably dumbs you could get here. Like, this much for this machine. It's like this massive world of tools, and like you have like the violet one, E-stem type boxes. I'm not an expert on it. There's like a lot out there, so learn a lot about that. You know, a lot of sensation play is a good way to have like both pain and pleasure. So heat, a lot of temperature, ice,
wax and stuff.
Yeah. And then of course another area of interest of mine is like needle play, and that's I actually have been trying to meet with a local gal, Mistress Odette. I don't know if you know her. She's a sweetheart. She's really good at it. I really want to meet with her to learn. That's something you really. A lot of this I've kind of self-taught. I did not go under like a formal apprenticeship, like a lot of us do. That's something you really want to like learn from a pro if you're going to go stitching into people's flesh. But there's some really just versatile, creative places you can go with that.
Is it like I think I've seen it where you just like take the needle and you just kind of poke it through and.
Yeah, you can actually like stitch certain bits of flesh together, like particularly like testicles, scrotum area. You can really do a lot with. Medical staples, even that's a big thing. Stapling.
Wow,
that's so that's a really cool one. So lots of times it's the little things, like nipple torture. I could take a handful of household items and make a man cry with nipple torture. So really, it's the fancy gear is like really, really fun, but it's also about knowing like the delicate points. CBT is another one I get a lot. That one's
what's that?
Cock and ball torture.
Tell me.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pain involved with that, but stretching the balls. Ball busting is a whole thing, like kicking.
Oof.
It's very interesting. One of my favorite regulars. That's
how hard do you kick?
So everyone has different tolerances.
Yeah.
I've had ball busting clients who have been. The more you do it, you kind of get a little desensitized,
sure.
And of course your pain tolerance ups. So some of them, it's like you could not kick them hard enough, like your hip was sore at the end of it. But then in some, it's just, only barefoot. And then some, I can like dig these heels.
Oh my goodness.
And I know. So it's this varying levels of pain. What's excruciating for one person is like a light tickle for someone else. So,
have you ever sent anyone to the hospital?
If
not immediately, but
no, thank God I have not. It's definitely a concern. I do what I can to ask questions before, especially because dudes are like, I'm fine, like everything's good. I'm like, oh, are you on blood pressure medication? Yes, okay, good to know. So then I don't go, pulling you from up and down different positions and you black out on me. So you really got to ask, but you still don't know. They might not even know, right? It's just like playing a sport or anything really physically intense like that. You run that risk. I did have one person black out on me once. Luckily, it wasn't for very long, and I made him go to the doctor after, just to make sure. He said everything was fine. Sometimes, like, glucose can spike and drop and all of that, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, do you ever research, like, any medical,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The main ones that are going to affect my average client is going to be blood pressure meds, diabetes, or like, I got a bum shoulder. Yeah. Blew my knee out playing football. I get a lot of Marines. A lot of former Marines.
Wow.
A lot of military in general. I attract military dudes. I have no idea why.
Wow.
It's very interesting. Navy SEAL, Army Rangers, Marines, etc. So, where was I going with that? I was just like flooded with memories of all the things I've done in Marines. A Marine in hot pink thong, dancing like a stripper on a pole.
Do they ever request like outfit?
Oh yeah, that's so much fun. The whole role play, like if I could go back, I would have probably finished out my degree in theater, even though it would have been useless, just because I love the theatrics of it. Absolutely. Like, I like for it to be sincere. Sometimes some of the role play that you get requested is like mighty bizarre, and so it's maybe a little less natural, but I try to breathe my own like who I am into it. But yeah, you get a lot of the classics, the old standards, like your female boss, you know, corners you in the office, and you fucked up, and you got a principal and the school teacher. I meant they're all standards for a reason. They put on a pencil skirt and you know,
what is
ruler. Religious play is really fun. I really like that. Like, I've had a lot of, like, they just completely want me to defile Bibles during it and incorporate that Quran. Yeah, it's very interesting. It goes into some really interesting.
That's deep.
It is. Yeah. So a lot of dressing like nuns, priests, cop. I just posted that video recently. I liked it,
by the way.
It's a good one. Yeah. Just, you know, authority figures. I like cosplay a lot too. I don't get to do it as much, but I'm just like waiting for that dream sub. Just like, can you just like fuck my butt dressed as all your favorite comic book characters? Yes, I can. Let's go shopping. And
that's amazing.
Yes, I get a lot of that.
Do they usually pay for your outfits and stuff too?
You know, I mean, that's preferred.
Yeah.
No, but it's incredibly expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it's so funny. Like, a lot of doms will laugh at that. It's like, you know, you want to buy something, or it's like a never-ending list of like the gear that you want is always like growing list, and the leather and latex, you know, it's pricey, but everyone's like, just get a sub to buy it, just get a sub to do it. It's like, you know, the amount of work that goes into managing each submissive and, you know, putting in that kind of time too. So yeah, I meant, obviously I've had a lot of really generous fans and subs and admirers who like to contribute to the beautification of this body.
This shit ain't cheap, okay?
No, it's not. It's not cheap. Just the makeup alone. That's why I always collect deposits, and everyone, most pros do it. Sometimes I get pushback, and I'm like, I'm going to put like $30 of makeup on my fucking face just to show up. So get it together.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is the weirdest or your most unfavorite role that you had to play?
That I had to play. Let's see. Well, I did get one that I don't do that I get requests for is race play. I don't touch that. I mean, I don't judge doms who do. It's their own personal decision. But it's not really my cup of tea. So I don't do that, and I get requests for it a lot. Least favorite. It's rare that I do anything I don't want to do, and that's really one of the top 3 reasons I got into doing this for a living, because I'm not the best with authority figures, and I'm not the best with slaving away doing things for the main majority of my day that I don't even care for someone else's betterment, right? So the beauty of this is that I rarely have to do shit that I don't want to do.
That's amazing.
It does happen, though, you know? Yeah. Like, if you're really tired, but you have, you know, you'll have a long time with no sessions, and it's like everyone wants it, so you have to pull long days with that. Something I haven't enjoyed. Again, it's just requests that there's the whole adult baby play, which I will do. You know, I get a lot of mommy goddess stuff because, again, the curves, you know, it's like, shh, there. But they'll want to, like, use their diaper, and I'm like, no. For, like, $50,000, I'll change your poop diaper. That's the price. If anyone out there wants to pay me $50K to change your poop diaper, I'll do it. But that's my
Do
minimum.
they, like, soil themselves with you?
I don't allow that, but that's a kink, yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, it seems
I mean, I'm not judging,
I
but...
understand. Yeah, you don't want to kink shame, but also, like, you just have an initial reaction to... They want to feel infantized. They want to feel it's like age play. There's a whole, that could go on for hours, that conversation, but it's therapeutic. And sometimes it's not even sexual. Sometimes it is. But a lot of times it's not even sexual. It's more...
Does anyone cry?
A lot of people don't understand that, is that sometimes these aren't really about sex, you know?
Right.
Orgasms aren't always part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say maybe not even in the majority of time. It just really depends. Do they cry? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not always... It's for different reasons, you know? A lot of people... Part of the reason that they're coming for the experience is because they need a cathartic release.
Yeah.
And it can be hard for a lot of us for a lot of reasons to get that. And there's different routes to get you there. Physical pain, sometimes it's just, it's kind of hard to explain, but it just kind of allows you to physically release a lot of things you've been holding on to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, some people are more emotional masochist, like with the degradation we kind of touched on, like they want to be put through consensual emotional pain to process through whatever it is that they're dealing with internally. So yeah, the crying happens, definitely.
Have you ever felt like you've gone too far?
Oh yeah. So small. I always joke that I must be too good at small penis humiliation. So that's a kink where, again, it's a degradation thing where they want their genitals to be mocked, typically in like a playful fashion, but also, you know, there's different levels of it, right? But sometimes they'll come to me and they just, you know, they've done it before and that's really their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I get pretty creative with it because that's what I do. And, you know, sometimes I'd say maybe a little over half the time they're actually really small is relative, but come on, you're small. And then, like below average. And then sometimes they're just like average or even kind of like on the bigger side. And you're like, look at that tiny, minuscule little peanut. How many people have you disappointed? How many girlfriends were disappointed? That look on their face afterwards where they get kind of quiet and then they reassure you with a smile, but you can tell in their eyes they don't really mean it. It's like kind of...
Yeah.
And then I'll get like a text or something later that night or the next day like, Mistress, is it really that small? And I'm like all concerned. Sometimes I'm like, what?
So are you...
to tell you yes.
When they like talk to you, like even, you know, in emails or in text and stuff, do they always address you? Like, are you, you know what I mean? Their goddess more in-person session versus like in communication?
Oh, like how do they kind of use respectful superior titles? And so there's different levels of like formality in BDSM. I feel like more old school BDSM is like very high formal, like, you know, you will walk 10 paces behind me, eyes downcast, you know, like very, and I can do that sometimes. And then there's also like a more kind of warm, affectionate, so it depends on the client, because people who really enjoy, most subs who really enjoy that high protocol is what it's called. You can tell because they are like, you can tell in the language they're using. And then a lot of them are, like I said, are first timers, noobs. So like a lot of it is me having to educate them on how they will speak to me because yes, I do require respectful language, of course, tone, and then titles. I can be a little more lax on them, but a lot of that is, and you know, a lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of men just really have no idea how to speak that way to a woman. So they're like, you know, you'll get those emails. They're like, "Sup, you super hot? Can we hang out?" And I'm like, so let me just fix this right now. Do a little reprogramming, straighten you out, and then So yes, long answer, not short. Yes, they do. They do at all times. And then, of course, that could be like a fun, playful thing. Like maybe I usually have a very playful style because I, you know, hurting people consensually does make me laugh. And I like to bring, like, I have a googly eyes fetish. Yeah. I like to glue googly eyes to testicles and things. It's very bizarre, but it's fun. I like to, the whole serious, stern aspects of it, definitely get that. That's definitely a mood that I'm in, but a lot of the time, but I also like, let's not take this too seriously. Let's also have, like, fun with this. Mm-hmm. And you can be warm and playful while still maintaining, like, that dominant role. Right. I feel. Yeah. So sometimes they'll, like, especially if I have a more, if I've been with a client for a long time, sometimes, they'll be a little more playful and I'll punish them for it and that kind of thing. Yeah. Once that baseline of respect and standards of behavior and the necessary behavior modification that needs to happen to get there, that foundation is laid, then sometimes there can be a little more, wiggle room. Yeah. And what's the longest client you've ever had? Probably, let me think. I'm thinking of the ones that had the longest. Probably like a couple of years. That's long. Some are more frequent than others. Sometimes I'll see one of them only, when they're in town or. Oh, I see. Every summer with more regularity. But no, I've only been doing it professionally for like 4 years. So, I know I'm friends with doms who've been doing it a lot longer, who've had clients for decades. So that's definitely a goals thing. That's cool, it's definitely a relationship. Yeah. And just because there is a element of transaction involved doesn't mean that these relationships aren't oftentimes sincere and meaningful to those involved. Yeah. But all relationships are transactional, but don't get me started on that. That's maybe another, for part 2. We'll get into my theories on that. But what was I going to say? And so how long is a session usually? I'd say the average is 2 hours, but I do have longer one. I have a 1 hour minimum for some things. Sometimes it's 2. It just kind of depends on what they're wanting to do. Like anything, certain kind of play for me to do in a way that I enjoy, or for me to do in a way that I feel is safe, I require longer because there needs to be some warm up, or I like kind of that evolution or that I was telling you about earlier, to get really deep into those mental spaces. That takes more time to do properly. But yeah, it's 2 hours, probably the average. I'll get some longer ones. Longest I've ever done was probably like 8. 8 hours? Yeah, 8. So, was that like overnight? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. It was actually, my last really long one was, what was that, like a strawberry moon thing? There's some moon event, because I remember I took him on a walk under a leash because I wanted to see the... Oh, like a blood moon kind of? Maybe, I think they called it a strawberry moon. Am I high, or is that what this is called? I'm pretty sure anyway, it was some kind of lunar event. Oh, wow. And, yeah, wow, I didn't even realize we've been talking. I know. I've been talking. I'm good at talking. No, this is so, like, I'm educated now. Like, I feel like I didn't really know as much in that world of things. There's a lot to learn, and I'm certainly not, the world's biggest expert. I mean, I think we're all still learning. I hope to always be learning. There's always something. Yeah. So many. That's one of the things that's so amazing about it, is I feel like you can just devote your whole life to studying these various aspects, like shibari, like rope art and bondage. That's the whole thing. You could dedicate a lifetime to. All the various, like, hypnosis. That's another hypnosis. Yeah, it's really cool. I've been researching that a lot too lately. I've done a little bit of it. It's really intriguing. It's a lot of fun. Is that what the classes are for at, like, the conventions and whatnot? Yeah, those are mostly like 101 type classes. Okay. More basic stuff because they're just short blocks. But there's like a whole convention just for hypnosis play within BDSM. I'm pretty sure I was looking. It was a late night Google. And I think I saw that. So there's something for everyone.
What do they like? How do they hypnotize them?
Well, it's just like your traditional hypnosis, but with
like
BDSM
small or
elements.
Talking and...
Yeah.
But then what do they make them do under hypnosis?
I mean, you hear all kinds of things. Like, I've even heard of, like, or multiple orgasms being produced from it. It's a great way to really reinforce that power dynamic, that dominance and submission role mentally. Behavior modification, it supposedly can be used for. Also like kind of a more healing tantric things, like maybe helping people work through toxic or negative issues they have in regards to their sexuality or their kinks and fetishes. So
you're basically a therapist.
Yeah. There can be a very therapeutic. Yeah. I have to be careful. For me personally, there's a lot of people who definitely that I get who do need therapy. And I am always very quick to be like, Mistress wants you to go to some therapy. Pretty much everyone could benefit from it. So this is great that you're seeing me to work through certain, like, sexual traumas or what have you. But I am not, at the end of the day, a trained mental health care. Disclaimer. Asterisk disclaimer. I am not a trained mental health care professional. So I'm like, this is cool. We can work out some mommy issues here, but then you also need to go to a professional so that you can, in a safe environment, work on things as well. But yeah, there's a lot more catharsis that can be found in it than I think a lot of people who aren't familiar with it realize. Behind all that fucking amazing, weird as fuck pageantry and out there exhibitionism, there's a lot of, like, internal healing type shit that goes down.
No, I believe it. I can only imagine. I never really got into shibari, but I did do it for a photo shoot, and then
it's beautiful.
Yeah. I ended up crying. Like,
yes, that's very common. Absolutely. Well, even massages, sometimes people end up crying. My partner is also a massage therapist. And it's cool. Like, there's theories about, like, muscles storing memories and trauma, and when you activate those, it's just like, same with, shibari's very, like, physical, and there's a lot of, it's like a good harmony of mental and physical kind of harmonizing there, so.
Yeah.
But you had a good experience?
Yeah, I mean, I was tied up, like, all the way from to my fingers and my toes, and I was, like, tied up for maybe, like, 2 or 3 minutes. It seemed much longer, and then when he started unraveling me, I just, like, started crying. Like, a lot of, like, cradling, too. Yeah. Like, I didn't anticipate that to be a thing.
Yeah, aftercare. Yeah, that's important.
But since I have eczema, I was also, like, paranoid about the rope. You know how, like...
yeah. They have the nice rope they can clean.
Yeah.
I work with all that. Yeah, I've actually been tied once by Dom. I'm really good friends with Paige Fox. And, yeah, the untying was my favorite part. It was just very, like, whew, it's a trip.
Yeah. Do you tie yours?
I have not done I mean, I can do basic knots for CBT. I do a little bit because it's just easy to get a little action there. But no, I haven't. That's, to me, like, I have a lot of respect for that art form, and I would like to learn more about it, but it wouldn't be something that I would offer in really intense forms and sessions because there's a lot of safety things involved, and I wouldn't want to, like, half-ass it.
Yeah.
I like chains.
Yeah?
Nice
Ooh.
Metal chains, so.
Do you, like, lock them up and stuff?
You can, yeah. You know, really, for a lot of the bondage I'm doing, you don't really need locks, you can just attach it in the way that their hands are and feet are bound. They're not going anywhere. But if you really want to like
how are they
mentally
bound?
drive that point home, you can add locks to it. Or if you're doing some kind of like abandonment thing or something like that, where you're longer term bondage, then you could do that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. How do you bind them?
So I have a St. Andrew's cross. I use a little bit if I want them vertical. I've got a old wooden, actually I think it's a massage table that I've kind of converted into a bondage table. There's also mummification. That's one of my favorites. I really enjoy that. So that's where it's like what it sounds. You could mummify somebody. So you wrap them extremely tightly. You can do it with all kinds. You can kind of do it with rope. I don't know if rope and like leather body bags, latex. Latex is a really cool one because of the sensation that your body feels with latex. You can also do plastic wrap, which is like an old standard shrink wrap. Really tight. You can do your whole head. You can do. You can also kind of like what's fun about that is you can leave certain bits exposed.
So are they like
of them or the rest of their bodies is totally bound, so that could get fun.
Are they like completely naked when you're doing the plastic wrap?
Yes. Every time I've done it. Yes.
Is it like? I guess I'm just trying to imagine.
Well, you can do different things. You could do it like vertically around, like a pole, like a strip of pole. You may have to make male sissies dance. You may have that. You can do it there or laying down. I typically will do it laying down because that way they can just really kind of leave, but kind of let everything
and
go
relax.
Really still. You can do a really cool like a suspension bondage where we're all wrapped up and just kind of like swinging, hanging. That's really cool also.
So you have like hooks and stuff from your ceiling?
Not in the current dungeon space I'm in. A hard point situation is a little tricky. Maybe get some replacement poles for it's like a sex swing thing I have. So working on that. So most of mine currently is on the table or the cross or the floor. Occasionally the bed if they're lucky, but usually not. So.
Nice.
Oh, and the cage. I also have a cage. That's a lot of fun too. It's a giant cage.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you could just like stand in it?
No, they can't stand. They could kneel. And like probably 4 of them could in there. It's
not
a lot of vertical height, but a lot of kneeling bodies could fit in there.
It was like that like Doja Cat video that I sent you that one time.
Oh my God. It's so amazing.
I know.
So good.
Like, okay,
the cow.
I know.
Cow. So good.
I saw her in concert when she was here recently.
So bad. Was it good?
It was a lot of fun.
I heard that, yeah.
I mean, I've been following her for quite some time, and so like the crowd really didn't go crazy until the Moo song, and it was the last
it's
song.
Like meme music, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say something. I totally forgot.
No worries.
So while they're in the cage,
there's so much to cover. It's like, so many things. God, I didn't spell that. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Jesus.
You're good. Oh. Are you like taunting them while they're in the cage? Are you like poking them?
Yes. And yes. No, it depends on what they're looking for. Like the whole like being abandoned thing. Like I could cage them and then go about my day doing whatever I want. Like, you know, talking to men that I'd actually want to have sex with, unlike you. Like, make them lick my toes or like put my feet or my ass or tits like really close, but they can't quite get to it.
Yeah.
Or I may just like plug them and leave them there for a while. Remote control plugs. You know, there's like so many places you can go with it. Or if, I've done an overnight session where I sleep in bed and they sleep in their little cage.
Oh, wow.
Like boys.
Yeah, because I was just going to ask, how long do they typically stay in the cage?
Depends. Yeah, sometimes it's a long session. There might be As long as I want them to be in there. Sometimes they tend to get, I'd say time moves pretty slow in the cage if I were to guess. So
yeah. I have actually always had a thing for cages just because, or just being in like small spaces.
Yeah.
Maybe because I've always been small. Like I used to like being like chilling in cardboard boxes.
Like a cat.
Or like in the closet.
If it fits, I sit.
Yeah. And I never felt like it was because I was trapped, but more like I'm in my like you can't bother me.
And that goes back to like womb shit, man. Like we feel safe when we're like in small enclosed environments. Mummification can be good for that too. Feeling a lot of, that's a big plus of rope. Just feeling all like snuggled up.
Yeah.
Like a little kinky bug in a fucked up rug. Like
now, okay, has any...
That's what I like to listen. Aww. This weirds me out, but also it's cute.
Okay, I do have to ask, like, has anyone just climaxed?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Someone I used to share dungeon space with would always call me the drip queen, and I'm just gonna leave that there. But
there you have it. And there you have it.
Yeah, the end. That's all, folks.
Well, we should probably wrap up because less rendering time with film. I swear. We did like a test run. It was only 30 minutes, and it was a 15-hour rendering. Yeah, it's insane.
Beyond my little pen, but that sounds like a lot.
I know, but I think that we have great stuff, and I wish that we had more time.
This was so fun. No, like I said, it's huge to me that your first one out the gates, you chose a sex worker.
Yes, absolutely.
A marginalized, member of society in a lot of ways. So we appreciate it.
Yes,
we appreciate being heard any opportunity we get. So.
Yeah, and where can people find you and follow you?
On Instagram at Mistress Primrose, on my website www.mistressprimrose.com, and on Twitter you can find me by Mistress Primrose or kink prim atx.
Nice. Do you have any like upcoming projects?
Let's see. I'm actually coming to Dallas soon. I should have those dates memorized. Beginning of December 6th. I will be in Dallas, so that's next on the list.
Nice.
Yeah. And maybe a shoot with you. That's something.
Yes!
That's on the next to-do list.
That's the next one.
Yes.
Did you ever, you had that costume, right, that you rented?
Yeah, I need to get it, yes. But it's going to happen. And we're going to make some cool
shit. Lucy in Disguise, if you want to sponsor us. Any sponsors? Is there any brands that we want some free shit from? Beer too. That would be nice. It could be right here, plug that shit.
Yep.
So
I love it. Got it.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time, and you are even more lovely in person.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. And that completes episode 1 of Fatal Overdose.
Clink.
Holy shit, we did it!
Right here. Boom.
Thank you so much. And I don't know who I'm going to have as my second guest, but I do have an idea, but you just never know. So
I'm excited.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned. And this is just the beginning.
That's right.
All right. Until next time.
All right.
Yay!
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching Fatal Overdose Podcast. Feel free to reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com.